Good evening, Pam. How are you? You're the first one on. Let me know if you can hear me okay. When I do barn quilt lives, I start out this way rather than looking at you on the phone and then flipping things down. Good evening, Linda and Vesta. I hope this finds everybody doing well. Hi, Claudia. Good evening, good evening. Today I went birding. I went with a friend of mine. She's getting, she has like another 4 weeks out before she has her other total knee replacement. So I was her chauffeur today, and we got out on the boards doing a little slow birding, and it felt so amazing to be out in nature and to see that the warblers are picking up out by the lake. It was just, now I am like so excited for migration because I got a little taste of it today, and I am ready for May. Okay, let's see who else is here. Hi, Colleen and Jasmine. Good evening. Okay, for those of you who may be watching for the first time, I offer a monthly card kit that was influenced by barn quilts that we have different trails around Northwest Ohio. And when I was trying to find something that I thought I could bring to the table that was a little unique, when I saw the barn quilts, I'm like, oh my goodness, we can do that as a card kit. So I offer this monthly kit. It is not a locked-in subscription. And what I mean is you can sign up and you can go in and out month to month depending on if you want the kit or not. So kind of unique in that way instead of locking you in. There is a Google form on the Chirpy Card Maker page that you need to fill out, letting me know, do you want the kit and the PDF, or do you want just the PDF? Because there's two different costs there. But the Google form will explain how the kit works, and if it's something that you want to give a try, fill that out and send it to me. I will be sending out the May barn quilt invoices on the 9th, and it'll come through PayPal. So it'll come in an email to your inbox. And if you're interested in the kit, pay the invoice. If you're not, you can skip it. I try to keep up, and by the end of the month, just cancel any invoices that weren't paid. I do take someone off the list if I see 3 months consecutive that there was no participation, simply because I don't want to, send all these, have PayPal send all these emails to your inbox, and, I don't want to waste your time. So when I see that there's no participation for 3 months in a row, then I will close it out, and you can always jump back in by letting me know, hey, I want to give it another try, and we'll get you going again. This is the April kit. So the kit gives you everything you need to make two cards, one of each card. You get a PDF with a bonus project. It can either be another layout, it can be maybe a 3D project, but that PDF is going to give you another idea of how you can use what you get in your kit to make just something a little different. So this month, it's this fun fold that when I was at Onstage in Raleigh, Linda Heller had invited Karen Titus, who is my upline. She invited, and she's also, Karen's also Linda's upline, but she invited all of us to an event she had on the last day of onstage in the evening, and we went around table to table and did some different projects, and I had never seen this this fun fold before, but it opens like this, closes like that. And so this is the bonus project that is in the, whoops, I'm too far up. This is the bonus project that is in the April kit. If you still want the PDF, I can get you a PDF. I am out of kits. So just know that. But if the PDF would suffice for you, then reach out to me and I can get an invoice out to you. And then once the invoice is paid, I will email the PDF. Who else is on here? Mindy and Linda, Betty, Sherry, Margie. Hi, Lori. All right. So aren't these colors beautiful? These are the new in colors for 2025 to 2027. So we're using tigers. Oh my goodness. I forgot the rest of it. But anyway, we got Strawberry Slush, Secret Sea, Tiger. Somebody help me out here. I got Pretty in Pink here. We've got Cloud Cover, and then I threw in some soft sea foam, and I believe Peach Pie. So anyway, so you get a little taste. Hi, Tina. Hi, Beth. Hi, Red. Timid Tiger. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So you get a little taste of the new in colors, and I just love them. So these are just, I just made a whole bunch of cards. I always have a set that I make because those are my prototypes, and then I've got to make another set so I can take pictures to put in the PDF. And usually at the end of the month, I have at least 3 sets of barn quilt card kits, and we're doing 2 more tonight. So I'll have a nice little collection there that I can send out to people who I know appreciate quilts. Now, on camera, it kind of looks like, I don't know what's crooked here, but it's almost like, when I look at the computer, it looks like my paper is sliding. Okay, was that a little bit better? Hold on. I don't know. It just seems like it's going downhill or something. So we will get started. Oh, I know what I got to grab. I got to grab the PDF so I can follow it with everybody, with you. PDF. Okay. I'm going to follow it the way I've got it written. So the PDF looks something like this. It's got your bonus project on there. Also, I like to make sure that the PDF, you have lots of pictures. If you're someone who can follow the directions better when you've got a photo that shows you where we should be in the process, and then there's also the text so that you can kind of put them together. So whatever, how you follow is easier. I try to make sure that you have all of that. Hi, Kelly. Okay, so let's start with block A, which is this beautiful block right here. And it is a little, it's a little bit simpler than the next one, but they're not hard, okay? And I don't go over what the measurements are. This is just a live so that you can see me put it together. And those who get the kit, I do put in the PDF a reminder to have your pieces ready to go for the live, because I don't show any cutting instructions or give the cutting instructions. Let's see if I can zoom in. a little bit more. Bring this down here. Okay. There we go. Now just come over here. So my square that we're going to build on is the Secret Sea. And Secret Sea is like a blue-black. It's not Night of Navy. It goes deeper. And it is, out of all the colors, it's my favorite. And I didn't think it would be my favorite, but it is. Okay, so we are going to start out. We're going to start by putting this square of cloud cover right in the middle. Now, you can't see it, but I have my grid already scored on here. You can use pencil, you can score. I can see it. You might have a hard time. But once I have my grid on there, whenever I can just put my adhesive right on, oh, you're going to be a stinker. Whenever I can put my adhesive right onto the base, so that I'm not having to pick up the pieces and stuff like that, I do. So just going to put a little bit of glue. I don't want too much. And this square of cloud cover is going to go right in the center. So it's a 9 patch, which is we've got 9 squares that are of equal size. And that cloud cover is going to go right there in the middle. And then I've got some half square triangles of strawberry slush. And we're going to put these right around this cloud cover middle, but we're going to put them in our 4 corners, and the peak, so to speak, of our half square triangle is going to touch the corners of the cloud cover square. So they go down just like this. And I highly suggest that you play with the pieces before you glue them down. Sometimes our cutting is off just a little bit, and sometimes we find pieces work better when you switch them around a little. So that's the placement. And so now I'm just going to glue these down. Now, these are fairly big pieces. I can handle them with my fingers. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back. And then I like to I just keep pivoting my block counterclockwise, and this helps because then I'm going to the same place with my hand as I did before. It's kind of like a muscle memory thing. And turn it. Again, I'm going right up to that upper right corner. Each time I'm going right to the same corner. Okay. And don't be, pick up your block, make sure that your pieces are straight. That's what your guidelines, whether it's a score or a pencil line, those lines help you stay straight. I know it's a little difficult to see because I scored my squares, but that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we've got some soft sea foam triangles, and these triangles are all, the peak is all going to be pointing towards the cloud cover square. And they're going to sit in these open spaces here. And my peak is going to touch the cloud cover square. And these should be half the width of what the square is. But just see how they fit right here. So it's always good to do that dry run. Sometimes I find, and it's in my cutting, I know it's in my cutting, sometimes if something doesn't fit, I just flip the triangle over, because if you're off just a little bit, for whatever reason, sometimes it just works better that way. So once you've got your triangles in there, then we can just go ahead. Now, if you're real comfortable using, what are they called? Reverse tweezers. You can use those. I find them awkward. So what I'll do is I'll just pick my block up, and what I'm doing is I just want to make sure that that line is straight. Okay. And so again, I'm just turning it clockwise or counterclockwise. And then I'm going to pick it up. I'm just going to make sure I have a nice straight line there. Okay. And one more. And once I put this down, I'm going to glimpse at the comments real quick. See if there's any questions. Let's gotta straighten this one out a little bit. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're almost done with this block. Hi, Brenda. How are you? Hey, sis. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for jumping in, you guys. So now the last squares that we need to put in are our peach pie and our timid tiger squares. And all I'm doing is alternating them, and they're going to go sit right up here in the corners. So just put a little bit of glue on there. I'm going to tuck that up in the corner. You want to make sure you get it all the way out to that corner, but that it's not beyond the perimeter there. And I like to just run my finger along the edge so that if it's sticking out a little bit, as long as the glue is still wet, I can kind of push it back within the perimeter there. And again, I'm just going to turn counterclockwise, but instead of peach pie, I'm going to bring in the timid tiger. And it doesn't matter which one you start with, as long as you just keep alternating them. And then back to the peach pie. And one more, and then this block is done. Now, once my block is done, that's when I like to place it in an embossing folder and give it some texture. And when you place your block in an embossing folder and it goes through whatever machine that it is that you're using, the pressure of those rollers will help lay down any of the ridges that you have. And it's like magic. It like melts the pieces together and it can look flawless. Now you don't have to have a machine to make these blocks, but if you do have one and you've ever done it, you know what I'm saying, just how it changes everything when you just kind of melt the pieces together. So that is block A. So I would normally run this through my embossing folder. My favorite folder is called the Subtle embossing folder. It's retired, but it's my favorite. But the Timber is another wood grain type of embossing folder that's really pretty, if that's the look that you're going for. And then I would mount it on the background layer and it would be done. Now I've got one already ready to go. This has already been texturized, and I will use this one when we go to put the cards together. And I can see I got a little bit of glue residue on this. Okay. So we'll set those aside and I will finish that block up when the live is over. Any questions? Hi, Debbie. Thank you for sharing, Debbie. I appreciate that. So now we're going to go to block B. And that is this gorgeous block right here. What I love about this block is the movement that is in it. It appears that we've made circles, but it's all in the shapes that we're going to cut and how we're placing the triangles. So it just gives it a circular look, but we're not doing anything, not cutting any circles. It's just how it's laid out, and it just gives that appearance. Okay, so this is B, and as we go along, and it's in your PDF, I show you the ingenious tip that Sharon Groves had shared with us in another live I did. When you're handling little tiny squares and you got to cut them in half, her suggestion, what she does, is she places, so she takes a Post-it note. Let me just get a Post-it note here. So here's my Post-it note, and here's that sticky strip on the back. Okay, so her suggestion, what she does, is she'll put her pieces on that sticky side, and that way the sticky side holds the little pieces in place, and then she can just, like, for me, I just go in with my snips then and go from corner to corner, and it holds everything in place. And so I did that with not only the cloud cover, the little squares here, but I had them hold these bars that are Timid Tiger and the Peach Pie, so that I could also cut corner to corner to give these really long points to a star. So it held them really nice, and then I could just cut corner to corner. So fabulous tip, and I find myself using it all the time to help me cut those small pieces. Okay, so there's my pieces that are cut diagonally, and again we're going to bring in our square of Secret Sea. Again, I've already scored my 9-patch grid in there. Has anybody else used the Post-it note suggestion when you're cutting small pieces? I was just wondering what other people have, what you think about that. If it's something that works for you, or maybe you knew about it before. But I really find myself using it more and more now that I've done it. It is, Betty. It's a great tip. So let's get started. We are going to start this block. We're not going to start with anything in the center. We're going to start by putting our star points on. And these are these long rectangular points. And again, I am going to alternate them, peach pie, timid tiger, all the way around. And they are going to set in the middle square of our 9 patch, with this short edge forming the square around the center, and the longest points are going to be pointing outwards towards the outside of the block. Okay, so I'm going to take, now here's what you got to make sure, that when you pick up your points, that you're holding them and putting the adhesive on the right side, because we need this flat side to be on the outside edges. I have picked them up and put the glue on the wrong side. So just be aware of how you're holding it and where that glue goes so that you can put it down in the right spot. Okay, so here I want my 90-degree angle to be right in the corner of my square. And so now I will pick it up, put a little bit of glue on the back, find that corner, line up my longest edge with the line that I've got marking my grid, like that. And then I can come in with the timid tiger, and I want to pick up one of my rectangles that looks like this. Okay, so that's the next thing, and we're just going to continue all the way around the block. Make sure we have a nice straight line. And I'm just going to start working all the way around. Okay, that one, 90-degree angle goes in the corner. This. So hard for you. It's even hard for me to see this score line right now, but I think I'm doing good. Okay. For those of you who got the kit, well, even those of, there's a handful that get just the PDF. If you've done this month's block already, did you find that this block right here wasn't as complicated as what you thought it was going to be when by looking at it? Were you surprised that it was as easy as I hope that I explained it in the PDF? Sometimes wording the steps, I can overthink it when I'm typing it up. And so I'm like, you know what? I got to give them pictures, because maybe the picture will help explain what I am trying to convey, but I'm just over explaining or something. This is one of those blocks that, yes, you're handling some tiny pieces, but sometimes that little bit of attention to detail just totally, you know, brings the quilt block to life. And trust me, you will be so proud of yourself when you give it a go and you see what you've done. It will all be worth it. I love working in miniature. Now, when I was sewing, I never did any miniature quilts. And I know a lot of blocks, when they're that little, are usually done with paper piecing. I cannot grasp the concept of paper piecing in the quilting world. So I never got into anything that's miniature sewing wise, but I love these little tiny quilt blocks. If it's a 2-inch quilt block or slightly bigger, I'm in my happy place, the smaller they are. So there's our star. Exactly, Vesta. It was easier than what you probably thought. Tina, great. Hi, Susan from Australia. Susan's the quilting, she's like the quilting, the quilt card queen of Australia. Oh my goodness. If you're not in our community group called Quilt Cards and More, if you haven't joined yet, you really need to. Don't forget to answer the join questions, because that makes or break coming into the group. Susan shares some beautiful patterns. You know, she gives freely of the instructions, and that's the great thing about our group. We have several people who will just go try a quilt block on their own, and they freely share the information with the group. I think we've got one of the best groups out there. But is my quilt card queen from Australia. She's just amazing. So now that we've got our star points on there, we're going to put this little square of strawberry slush, and that's going to go on point in the center. On point, you're just going from a square to a diamond, and these points here should pretty much line up with where the two colors are coming together in the center. Should kind of all be kind of matching up there. Do you already see the curve that we've got here? It's this right here. Look at the curve that it's creating by using these longer points for our star. And that is just amazing. We have done nothing circular, but the illusion is that we've got a circle going on right here. Oh, I just love it. Just love it. And you'll really, really see it when it gets put on point. So, yep, Red knows, she knows. It's like, okay, what is Susan going to share with us? Once we've got that done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to frame our outer corners. So we're going to start giving this a circular look with our half square triangles going out here. Kind of like a snowball quilt block kind of thing. You're squaring off your corners, but see how it's helping just give this a more rounded look. And then when you've got this gentle curve here going too, it's just, oh my goodness, this is probably my favorite block. So once you've got your triangles where you want them, I'm just going to move them, keep them in order here. I'm going to start up there in the upper left. Again, I want to get my point right up here in the corner. And when our cutting is like darn near perfect, our points, just like in sewing a quilt block, our points should all be matching up. It doesn't always happen for me, but when it does, I'm very happy, because when I do sew, I like to focus on my points matching up and looking perfect. I can't tell you how many times I've ripped out a block and just kept working at it until my points were perfect, and, well, darn near perfect. I won't lie, though. After so many attempts, I just quit and say, okay, it is what it is. But I strive in my sewing. It's like a challenge for me to get those points looking really, really good. Okay, I'm just going to run my finger along the edges and make sure that my pieces aren't sticking outside the base there. Now, when we come to our cloud cover triangles, this will be the part that will give you, it's the most challenging, because they are little, and I find a lot of times I just feel like I'm all thumbs when I'm handling small pieces. If you know where they're going to go and you're using a fine tip glue applicator, sometimes you can, as long as you know where the glue needs to be, you can put a little bit down right on your base, and then just place the triangle on there. Now I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, because this is going to help me. I'm going to take my squares off of here. Now we're not going to do the smallest of the squares just yet. And you can actually do this block without those 4 really tiny triangles, but oh my goodness, do they make a difference if you decide to use them. So I'm going to bring in the larger of the sets of triangles, and our point is always going to be facing outwards. So this is going to set between this corner here and that triangle of soft seafoam. So when you place it down, your 2 corners should meet right there, and you can see that it just makes that nice little square. And that's what we're going to do to each one of these corners here. So I kind of know where my glue dot would be if I wanted to put it right on here, but to me that's just still too much of an unknown. So I'm going to put a little bit on the back, and I'm just going to make sure that those 2 points here on my longest side are touching the points of the star, and then I'm just going to straighten it out and make sure that it's straight. Okay, so like that. And I'm just going to, again, turn it counterclockwise. And again, I'm going right back to that corner and doing the exact same thing. Here's where, if you're good with reverse tweezers, you're probably using them. I'm just not good with them. So as long as my fingers still work and I can handle tiny pieces, I'll just keep plugging away at doing it this way. But I know the day will probably come when I'm going to have to make myself learned to love those reverse tweezers, and so that they're comfortable in my hands. I think it's because I feel awkward with them that I don't give them more of a try. Now here I'm going to be looking, and I'm looking for like a straight line. I'm just looking to see if I can see a box, so to speak, here. And so far it looks straight enough for me. I am going to count on the embossing folder and those rollers to just kind of push everything where it needs to go and make it look flawless. Okay. So I can see my box right here. Now you could stop right there. If you don't want to put these last 4 little triangles in, you could certainly stop. Because these are a little, they're a little bit of a challenge to pick up. Now, using my Take Your Pick tool, at least that can help me pick up the pieces to hold. Now these, excuse me, the peak of your triangle is going to always be pointing towards the outside of your block. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for where does this fit in between the 2 star points that it sits really nicely. It doesn't necessarily have to be right the line that the larger triangles would make if you're visualizing it going across here. It's going to probably sit up just a little bit higher, but you want your 2 points here to be touching your star points. Okay. Just a little dab will do you here. Set that down. Now right now it's a little crooked, but with liquid glue I've got time to move it around. I don't want to play too much with it, but they're pretty much a straight line. But do you see here now how it's giving a curve, the illusion of a curve this way? You've got your illusion of a curve right here, and you've got an illusion of roundness around your outside. So I'm just going to keep going around and putting this last little triangle in there. Again, if this is too much for your fingers, I get it. But if you just give it a try, you are going to be so proud of yourself. Okay, so like that, and then we're just, see how we're getting a circle here? I just love this last little step. And when I was designing, I stopped at the first 4 triangles. And I'm like, okay, I like this. And then I'm looking at the block and I'm like, just seems like it needs something in there. And, you know, I played with the smaller triangles and I'm like, oh gosh, I hope, you know, I felt okay that I was giving you the option that you could stop with the larger ones. But I was hoping that you could see the possibility and that you were going to just keep going with it and at least trying. So how many of you who are watching and get the kit or the PDF, did you say, no, I'm not going to do those last 4 triangles? Did you stay with just the 4 bigger ones, or did you give this a try? And there we go. Look at all of our circles. We have a circle here. We have curves here. Imagine more of these blocks put together, and the pattern, well, let's see if we could get these together like this. So let's say you were making a quilt top. I was seeing if my curve here would, it doesn't really, well, right here you can see kind of another, maybe a bigger circle. If you had 4 of these blocks together, you would see this inside becoming a circle. But just, oh, it's just so intriguing. I just love it. So I'm just wondering, Vesta, you put yours in? Yay! Colleen, you gave it a go, and did you like it? And Tina liked it. Okay. Red did too. That is awesome. Terry tried. Okay. Oh, Pam, that's so sweet of you to say. I'm glad that you love the group. Kathy says, good evening, groupies. I'm glad that you gave it a try. You may not have, liked it or something, but I give you huge kudos for trying. Yay, you. Okay. So again, once this is done, I would run it through the embossing folder, let the magic happen, let all of these pieces just melt into each other. And this is what it looks like after it has been put through there, and all the ridges disappear, and it just lays the block down really nice and flat, and just has that plywood. This embossing folder, it reminded me of like plywood, and a lot of your barn quilts are painted on plywood, and so it's either the plywood look or like the dry brush strokes in here that I just love. So if you have the subtle embossing folder, give that a try. If you can find it on some resale sites, look, just search for the Stampin' Up! Subtle embossing folder. And if you can get your hands on one, add it to your collection of embossing folders. It's a really good one for quilt cards. Okay, so we've got our 2 barn quilts done. Pam, just keep looking. You could even put the word out, and, if you're in another, like, Stampin' Up! Group or belong to another demonstrators group, just kind of put the feelers out that you're in search of the subtle, and maybe somebody's not using it anymore. And maybe, you can work something out with them, but it's a really good folder to have. And the timber folder, which is retiring, I think it's over in the Last Chance side of the website. It still gives that wood grain look like if it was painted on a piece of board. So that's another one that you can consider too, is that timber 3D embossing folder. Okay. Linda's used the exposed brick. That's one of my favorite folders. And you guys probably know that because some of the kits have come with, that's what the embossed background is. I love a brick embossing folder. And that would really give a really cool look, like the barn quilt was painted on brick instead of wood. You just gave me okay, now, Linda, you got my mind, you got my wheels spinning. I want to know what that looks like. I'm going to probably have to give it a try. Maybe with this one. So I'm going to set this aside. I'll finish that later. And I'll bring in my 2 barn quilts that are finished. And I went ahead and put dimensionals on the back because we want to give them the appearance that they're sitting, right, just popped off of a building, right? And I got to remember maybe I need to do this now. Hold on. Let's see. Well, I'm going to have to stand up to do it. Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay. I get to talking and just going along, and I'm like, I forget to look over and see, am I even in camera? Are there people yelling at me right now telling me you're not in camera? Okay. Now, I went ahead and I put the card bases together because if you're a card maker, you know how to put a card base together. Your kit comes with the card base. You get the insert, which you will have to trim down a little bit, and you'll need to trim down your surface to that your barn quilt will hang on. Okay. Now, these colors will go with 3 of the new paper designer series paper packs that will go live May 6th. And this is some of that paper. And so I just put a little strip on the back. I used a little strip for the inside just to zhuzh up the card a little bit. And so what I'll do then is take the backings off. Now here with this block, okay, so you see the illusion of your circles and stuff when it's square, right? Turn this on point. Do you see what's happening here? You can really see these curves, and this star has a totally different look by putting it on point. So you can decide, is this a block that I want to put down on point, or do I want to keep it square? Look how different. Look how different. It's the same block, but it looks so different when you turn it on point. It's like your star points are exploding out. So you can decide how you want to use it. I'm going to take a look here. I think I've got 2 of everything. So I'm thinking I might just keep this square. So I'm just going to try to line it up on my card base. Maybe like that. So there's one. And then I think this one here looks good on point too. These are 2 blocks that look good no matter what, what orientation you put them, whether you keep them square or you even put that on point. This gives me the feel of like Hawaiian applique. I mean, it's not Hawaiian applique, but it's where my mind wants to take me when I see it on point, is an applique block. I don't get an applique block so much when it's square, but for me, it just gives me the feel. So it's up to you how you want to do it. It's your barn quilt. I'm just going to go ahead and put it down square. So there was the April barn quilt along with this fun fold as your alternate project. Again, we're using all the same pieces that come in your kit. You're just going to add a couple more score lines to your base. You still have the fold down the center because that's what allows you to fold it like this in order to open it. But just a little extra something that you can do a little differently with it. Okay, so that was April. Do you want to see what May looks like? I'm going to show you the piece of designer series paper that inspired the colors for May. And this is a paper pack that will be coming out. It's in the new annual catalog. and it's called Beautiful Gallery. It's got some beautiful scenery, designer series. It's a 6x6, but it's got beautiful, beautiful images, and then a lot of like your painter type backgrounds. Look at these. Aren't these just beautiful? Look at the sceneries. Very subtle neutral colors, but just gorgeous. So out of that paper pack, the sheet that inspired my colors was this one right here. So this was my inspiration. And when this reminds me of a men's, not paisley, but I can see this in a men's shirt. And going into May and June, I'm thinking Father's Day, I wanted at least one of my blocks to kind of have a masculine type feel so that you can use it maybe into June for Father's Day. So I found a quilt block called the Crab Claw or something like that. But what I did was I turned it into a wrench. So, and by adding the little metal embellishment, I thought it looked more like a tool that you would find in your husband's, toolbox or something. It's actually called the Crab Claw or something like that. But to me, when I saw it, I saw a wrench, and I wanted something that was a little masculine, so that we can pass on some of our quilt cards to our men. And I'll tell you, it's surprising to me. Quilts will leave an impression on guys too. They appreciate quilts. You might not think so. You might think it's, a girl thing, but I know a lot of guys who will like, oh, that's a quilt, or, oh, wow, and so just kind of going into that. Now, the second block isn't like a masculine thing, but, again, I've got, I used a metal embellishment, and I've just got a pinwheel type thing going on here. But, and then using crumb cake and using this birch embossing folder. I don't know if you can see the texture, but it just lent really well to all of these colors. So again, we're playing with some in colors. We've got Secret Sky and we've got Cloud Cover, but we've got Lost Lagoon, Calypso Coral, Basic Beige, and Crumb Cake. So these are the 2 blocks for June. Something a little summery, something a little masculine, thinking ahead for Father's Day. And so yeah, that's what I came up with for June. Or not June, for May. So again, if you're interested in getting started in the card kit, at the top, like towards the top of the Chirpy Card Maker page, there's, look for the word featured, and there should be a Google form right there that you can click on that, and then you can fill out the form and send it to me. And then I can get you set up in PayPal so that when invoices go out on the 9th, you get them. The kits mail on the 15th or around there. Sometimes the 15th falls on a Saturday or Sunday, so it'll go out on Monday. And then on the 18th, you'll get the PDF in your email box or your inbox, okay? The postal service. I don't know why things take so long anymore. And it's weird. People in Ohio sometimes wait longer for their kit than somebody several states away. I don't understand how that all works. I did see something on the news where mail can take, if they cut a bunch of jobs, could get slower. And then there's always something with the post office. I send out these kits a good 2 weeks before the live. I'm finding that some people are getting their kits a few days after the live has aired. If that is frustrating to you, then maybe the PDF option works better. I wish I could control the postal service, but I just can't. I can tell you what day I mailed them out on. I have our post office clerk. She weighs the card kit, lets me know the postage that's needed. And I learned something this last time I went in, because some people were getting postage due. And the 1 ounce stamp and the 2 ounce stamp have the same flowers. So it's like a call that every time your piece of mail moves to the next location, anybody there can make a call whether it's got enough or not. So she's thinking that someone, the carrier, saw that stamp, thought it was a 1 ounce stamp, and didn't look for it to say the 2 ounce. So there's so many variables with the post office. It drives me crazy. She did tell me that she's going to try and order the 2 ounce stamps that don't look like the 1 ounce stamp, and she hopes that takes care of any confusion. I don't get a lot of people coming back at me saying that it came with postage due. But it does happen. So every time I'm made aware of an issue, I try to handle it with my post office. And we just hope that down the line, every time it moves through a different facility, or it's in the hands of someone else who can make a call, we're trying our best to make sure it gets to you. You don't owe any extra postage. And I would love that they arrived on time. You would think 2 weeks is enough time. I have found that's not always true, and some of the things that they had on, I saw on the news, was that if more jobs are cut, they're saying expect it to slow down as far as how long it takes for you to get something. So I apologize on behalf of our post office. I love our post office. I love walking in there several times a month and chit-chatting with my my clerk, and she's so helpful with me and these card kits. So I want to use the post office. I don't want to have to consider going with just a PDF. I'm going to keep doing kits until it just blatantly is, this is just frustrating. We've been doing it for 4 years, so let's keep going. Okay, but I apologize ahead of time if your kit is taking a little longer than what it should. So I am going to let you guys go. Thank you for listening to me kind of go off on the mailing there, but I felt you needed an explanation, and I want you to know that I'm always trying to make sure that these kits get to you in a timely manner. Okay, I'm going to let you go. This will be the new kit. I will have a new alternative project. I've already got something in mind. I haven't quite played with it yet, but I do have a fun fold that I think that you're really going to like to go with the PDF. So it's like you're getting 3 different variations in your PDF that you can play with. So everybody have a good evening. I will see you tomorrow at 11:30. We've got another mystery barn quilt, a mystery quilt card. And this is a very popular block, but I'm going to show you my take on it and what I saw when I was piecing it together. So you're really gonna like it. That's all I'm gonna say. So I will see you tomorrow at 11:30 for a Facebook Live tomorrow. And if you can't catch it live, you'll be able to catch the replay. So everybody have a good evening. Thank you for spending your Wednesday night with me, and I'll see you all tomorrow.